outside of my Grandma Zee's house in Columbia, Missouri, Haven Road. This is the house, man. I used to play here. You know, I didn't play a whole lot of stuff, but I used to play here. Look at this great big tree. Look at that tree. There's some neighbors and stuff. It's beautiful, man. You know, it's just a slice of home. It's a slice of home I haven't seen in many years. It's been like 12 years. It's been about 12 years since I've been out here. And it's definitely a long time coming. So thank you, Lord. Today, I'm going to go get to see my Uncle Deanie. I'm going to go see my Aunt Pat. Hopefully I get to see Anna and Augustine and Sparkle and see some other relatives from back in the day. I'm going to go see Granny. And I'm going to take this laptop with me because I got a digital camera, but the video on the digital camera is pretty whack. You know, and I'm going to take my laptop when I go see my grandmother too. Grandma Zee, this is her house. I'm going to go take my digital camera with me. Take the laptop also, so when I sit there, you know, and talk to her, I can have a recording. You know, it's not going to be the most advanced technology, but it'll at least be a recording. It'll be something. I went out yesterday clubbing with Derek, and then, man, I haven't seen Derek and Trey in many years, and I went out clubbing. And, you know, they're the same. It's good that they're the same people. They've just gotten older, and their responsibilities have changed and gotten bigger and different and better. And they got kids, you know. They got 3 kids each, man, and it's like, wow, you know. So they have a lot of growing to do in addition to having children. And they'll be fine. They'll be okay. This is an environment where, you know, you could have kids, raise kids, and just live life. You know what I mean? This is a settled down situation in Missouri. This is not a fast life place. This is a settled down place. I live in a fast life place. And it's like when you're out here, you notice how fast LA is compared to the middle of this country. It's like when you get to the very center of the country, things slow down dramatically. And then when you get to either end of the country, things speed up. So we'll definitely see, and that's definitely something noted. You know, I don't really have a lot to say. You know, I think one of the things I'm learning, like I was at the club and I was getting these great ideas, like, you know, thinking about making a cartoon based on the power of intention and manifesting. You know, sort of like, what is that video, The Secret? Which is basically the law of attraction, and then they just packaged it into something. You know, the whole packaging of what they're doing is what they're selling you. The law is you know, they're basically selling nothing. They're selling the law of attraction. They're selling basically the truth. You know, and if you're willing to buy it, you know, you're willing to buy the way they've dressed it up, you know, then so be it. Anyhow, you know, I'm not here to sit and rag on their secret shit, you know, but you know, I was just thinking about making a cartoon to make it a very simple, you know, and I've had ideas for cartoons before, and I've got to act on these ideas, you know, because, you know, I will make this cartoon. How your intention is like a muscle. Confidence, for example, is, what did I put? Confidence is a muscle. You know, yeah, confidence is. It's like building a muscle. You know, I was talking to some girl at the club. I said, I'm not a club dude at all. I don't look like a club dude. I've only been in a handful of clubs. I think maybe on 2 hands I can count how many clubs I've been to in life. Maybe on 1 hand, because it's truthfully, I'm not the. You're not gonna find me at the club all the time, you know. That's not me. I don't really do that. But so I went with my cousin Derek, and then they were going, and it's like, it was cool to hang out with them. But I felt like I could have saved the $30-something I spent. You know, I could have really saved the shit. You know, I spent $10 to get in, and then I bought 2 drinks, and the drinks were like $11 each. So it was like 20-something I spent, which I could have saved. I could have kept that money in my pocket, you know. So it's kind of whack. But the good thing is, I went and got a chance to expand my comfort zone. I was talking to a couple of females in there, and I didn't really say too much to them. I just said, oh, I want to tell you you're looking good, that's all. And that was it. And they were like, oh, thank you, which is basically what you would expect. And then that was it. I left. But, I felt really good after doing that. I felt good. I felt like there's nothing to lose. And, I got past the stigma of rejection, because there wasn't any real rejection. All I had to do was say that. So all you got to do is say that to a few girls. You know what I mean? Say that to, pick 10 girls, 10 women that you really think you really think you're looking good, and just go tell them that. Just go tell them, you look good, and that's it. That's all. You're not looking for nothing. Just tell them they're looking good. It'll make you feel better because you get some practice and going for what you want, going for what you like. And then too, you get to see how small it is. It's really not a big deal. If you haven't done it, don't wait until you're 35 to do it, because you're going to make it a much bigger deal than if you were a kid. See, when you're a kid, you just do it. You don't really care. You just go do things because you're a child and you don't have all of those social variables that appear once you get older. All these different social applications of what you're doing. You don't have anybody tell you that you're wrong. You don't have anybody to tell you, oh, why are you talking? Why are you talking to this girl? Don't worry about it. You don't have any of those concerns when you're a child. When you're an adult, So get that out of the way. So I got that out of the way, and it was cool. I got to see him and stuff. And, just hanging out in Missouri, man. Just hanging out. Went to the Lake of the Ozarks last night. It's like, wow, man. But, this is life. This is life for people in this country. And then this whole trip of coming out to Indianapolis and then driving down here to Missouri, this whole trip has basically brought an awareness to me, about our world now. It really feels like this is not far from my house. I feel like this is maybe a few hours drive from Compton. That's how it feels. I mean, obviously this is not Compton. You can feel it in the air and all this stuff. But it just really doesn't feel that far away from home. And I was telling my grandmother this, and she said, yeah, that's what the internet does. The internet gives you this connectedness, this natural connectedness. And it's funny because we're all connected in this natural way, and now, like, our physical realities is beginning to sync up with that connection. And I think it's just very important that if you have family, to connect with them. I've been talking to my father, and we really haven't had a lot to say to each other because we're new. This is a new situation. This is like, it's old, it's as old as my birth, but at the same time, it's brand new. It's like you're an adult, you're 24 years old, and I live day to day. I have moments that I capture in my journal that I talk about, that I record. I have different recordings from different time periods. But a lot of times when I would record things, they would just be saturated in the day-to-day life and day-to-day activity. They would not be created from this really, I gotta create something. I gotta record this moment. This is such a startling moment. This is such a great moment, or whatever. It was just, I want to record something so that I have a recording. So nowadays, I tend to do it a lot less, but when I do, I try to make it impactful. I try to make it something useful, and I try to really get the essence of whatever's going on. I mean, I don't know how this will feel. I don't know how Missouri will feel when I get back home, and I don't know how home feels now that I'm in Missouri. But maybe it all feels the same. Maybe there's nothing different about it. But I do know that all of this feels very casual. This whole experience is very casual to me, just very normal and just kind of like hanging out. And I noticed my dad, man, he's slowed down a whole lot. He's a much slower guy, much slower guy. He's not a fast dude, much slower guy. And You know, he's chilling. You know what I'm saying? He's relaxed. He's just kind of like, I'm raising these two kids. He's got two kids. You know, and I consider them siblings. You know, in a at this point it's a playful way of considering them siblings. I haven't embraced them fully as my own, you know, relatives yet. I just have embraced them as two kids that Tracy and my dad are raising. So, you know, it'll settle in. You know, this is not something that's just going to connect and mesh overnight. You know, this is something that'll develop as they grow up and as our relationship gets a little better and a little more pronounced. Then I'm sure I can say, yeah, these are my brothers. But at this time, you know, like Julian, I take to. Peyton, I take to also. But it's Julian that I really take to. Little Julian I really take to him. You know, maybe because he's little, maybe because I don't know. It's just something about him that is similar that I can relate to. So, you know, it's nothing against Peyton or anything, but you know, it's just that's how it is. That's how it is at this point. And Peyton, you know, he's gonna be fine. He's a good boy. You know, he's a good kid. He's a little higher and out, but he's a good kid. You know. And you know, when I get back home, man, I'm concerned about this graduation because my grades are not all that good, man. They're not. You know, I just want to pass. I really just want to pass. That's all I want. You know, give me a D. You know what I'm saying? Give me a RD. You know, whatever. Just let me pass so I can move on. So I can get the credit and I can move on. You know. I want to graduate from Compton College, man. I really want to graduate and get out of there. Just want to get out of there and just want to move on with my life and do good things. And it's not hard to do. It's just the level of study that I put in, the level of study was really the concern. Was really the big deal. You know, how much studying have I done and will I do? You know. And then on the other hand, you know, in other news, it's a situation now where it's like travel is not a big deal to me now. You know, I feel like as a comedian, you're going to travel all over the place. You know what I mean? You're going to travel to, you know, Leg Sweat, Indiana. You know, you're going to travel anywhere. You're going to be all over the place. And it's just like you're just getting on a plane, and the airports are going to be just like, almost like your second home. You know, one of the things that I've discussed here is follow your dreams. Don't waste time. Follow your dreams and don't waste time. Follow your dreams and make money. You know, make your money. Here's the thing. You know, you got to make a living while you're following these dreams. Very simple. Heard it before. But it's something very magical, or what's another word for magical, man? It's something powerful when you internalize it and just get it. Something when you just get it, when you're just like, yeah, man, that's right. You know, you gotta earn a living while you're following your dreams. And it wasn't until I started earning a living while I was following my dream that I understood it. You know, because it's one thing when you're when you want to do something and you're broke, and you want to do something when you have the money to do it. You see, I wanted a mic, I wanted a mixer, and I have both of those things then. I wanted a computer, I have that. I wanted a digital camera, I have that digital camera. I wanted a camcorder, I have that camcorder. It's just something very, very magical, very pronounced, when very, very good, powerful, when you have the shit you need, when you have all the stuff you need to move forward on your dream. It just feels better. And whatever you got to do to make that a reality, do it. You know, And all of your and keep this in mind, all of your experiences are going to lead you to where you want to end up. You see, when you set a powerful intention and you have that feeling and you meditate every morning to lock that in, and you go throughout your life, every step that you take, as far as every breath you take, everything, every single movement you make, everything you do is leading you to fulfilling that intention. Whatever it is. So it's important that it's a good intention, because that's what everything you're doing is leading you to. It's leading you to manifesting that intention on a physical level. It doesn't start physically, but it ends up physically and beyond. The pyramids were not conceived just physically. Somebody didn't sit around and say, we got to make a pyramid. There was an intense thought or whatever. There was a series of thoughts. There was an experience that led them to say, it is important for us to do this. And they did it. How do you think such a vast piece of architecture could exist? How do you think such a vast piece of rocks of such a vast shape, such a big, powerful shape could be created? It was created gradually, but it was conceived fully. It was like conceived, and then the mathematics were put into account, and then that's how they did it. Creatures on higher dimensions, creatures that are just more advanced than we are at this point, or just different altogether. Math is like the language of the universe, and you can do really great things. This piece of equipment that I have in my hand wouldn't be created without math. We wouldn't be created without math. We are an evolving math. We're an ever-changing math, which is really cool. This is gonna be this shape until it deforms, till it erodes, eventually in 1,000 years or whatever. All the stuff that we do things based on our lifetime. The things that survive past the lifetime, like our writing. I don't even know if the recordings will, but the writing, our arts, major concepts, those are things that survive past a lifetime. Not necessarily a lot of other stuff, but there's always a renewing. I'm not really sure where I'm going with that, but it's just kind of like, I'm at this point I'm just saying stuff. I'm just riffing. I'm just just kind of rapping right now and talking in front of my grandmother's house. Because I think it's important to do. I think I'm very thankful that I'm able to do it, and it's just one of those things where you just have to realize your life is always going to change. My grandmother right now is sick, just like my grandmother back in California was sick, my Nana. And Nana was sick, man, and she was a fighter. She fought as hard as she could fight. She did as much as she could do, and then that was over. And my grandmother seems to be the same way. And neither one of those women lost any dignity while they were going through it. It was just, to them, it was a cycle of life. I know you say we have all these little prepackaged sayings and patterns when it comes to dealing with death, because we want to be able to compartmentalize such an unknown situation for us, physically. The deeper rooted you are in the physical dimension, the more you say, well, I don't know anything about what happens after death. And then the more you branch out from the physical, you realize that there's a whole lot of other stuff going on, and that death is exclusively a physical phenomenon. Death is experienced here, physically. The concept of death is something that is physical in nature. It's just the cycle of life. There's the living, and then there's the dying, the living and the dying. It's the same renewing of energy that happens universally. All it is energy changing forms. And then here it manifests as, soil, tree rotting or whatever, flesh rotting, and putrefying, and then those elements go into the soil, and the soil knows what to do with it, and it births new life and new trees, and then the other energy goes into the tree energy and different plants, and those plants feed the animals, and animals are enlivened with this energy, and they have other offspring, and then all, so on, and humans, so on. So it's just a cycle. I mean, that's stuff you already know. But again, at different points in life, at different phases of life, you internalize it. I look at my father, and I say to myself, this is a man who, when he was young, just like many other people, he was very fast. A lot of energy and no true direction on how to use this energy. As a result, he did all sorts of wonderful things, but he also made a lot of what you could consider mistakes. Not really mistakes, but just, steps that could have been refined. He made more cruder decisions because he had less of a foundation than, say, someone who had more of a foundation. If you have a better foundation in life, your decisions will come from that foundation. Any decision you make is going to come from where you believe you stand, where you believe your foundation is in life. Any decision you make is going to come from there. And if you don't really have a foundation, you're going to make all sorts of crazy decisions. You're going to do things that later on you're going to say, well, man, when you have a more refined foundation, you're going to say, man, I was really fucking up. But it was because you didn't know any better. You didn't know because you didn't have a foundation. So, and you didn't have the patience, or you weren't still enough to receive the wisdom necessary to make a better decision. But that's okay. It's alright. The point is that as long as you continue living, and as long as you have an opportunity to keep on going, you'll make better decisions in due time. It won't be a situation where you'll always make fucked up decisions. You'll make great decisions when your foundation is better. And I think with these kids, man, he's making good decisions. He wants to do right in raising these children. I mean, he's very soft. He's a softie, But then, like soft people do, there's a time when they harden up. And when they harden up, it's just like uncontrollable. Like, wow, this is unbelievable. That this person is capable of doing that. But that's the product of just being a lighthearted, nice person, and then that kindness gets taken for granted. He's okay now, man. I'm pleased to see that he's all right, that he's okay, that he will be okay, that he's gonna raise these two kids right, and then they're gonna make him happy, man. I believe that. As for me, as his son, his first son, man, it's just, I was a part of that first phase of his life. Making a bunch of decisions, some of them hasty, some of them based on limits he believed he had, and all this other stuff. I believe that him and my mother, they would have been really good for one another. But the thing is, he made that decision based on not having expanded his horizons. He made that decision to be with her based on, I live in Compton, this is my life, this is how it is, and this is the girl I want to be with, based on this life. But once he branched out and he saw, well, you know what, all that fast LA stuff, I don't really like, I don't really want, I don't really need. I want this, country, relaxed, nobody's tripping lifestyle. That's the kind of life that my father, he's very settled at this point. And he's young, he's 40 something, but he's lived so hard and fast in the first, phase of his life that he's just settled, You got people like Tuffy. Now Tuffy's a guy who, I love Tuffy, and he's a guy in Russell too, and they're guys who've lived in LA and they just know the LA. but their roots are their country roots, you know. But they settled roots in L.A. They settled their roots in Compton, lived in Compton all their life basically, and as they got older, they branched out and did their own thing. But they're L.A. natives, and they know how L.A. is. They feel the L.A. You know what I mean? They're not Hollywood bougie L.A. They're not entertainment L.A. Entertainment L.A. and just living in L.A. are two different, though not mutually exclusive, lifestyles. If you just live in L.A. and you just go through L.A. stuff, there's a certain feeling. It's a certain way of life. And then if you're in entertainment L.A., it's another feeling, another way of life, and it's trendy. You know, living in entertainment L.A., very trendy. This is how it is today. This is how it will be tomorrow. This is how, and that trendiness seems to rub off on just living in L.A. because that's how it is. And living in L.A. rubs off on that trendiness of the culture. So, you know, where do I fit in? You know, as a comedian, you know, I consider myself all right. You know, I have a lot more work to do, and the reason that it's an issue because you have to be able to. I heard a Too Short song, and it really stuck with me. It rubbed off on me, man, and I appreciated how he put the song. You know, because basically he kept up with all the stuff he did. So you know where you stand. Again, it's about strengthening your foundation. You know where you stand. He did, you know, he was rapping all these different facts, these stats and stuff. And it was kind of sick. It was tight because it was like, man, this is a guy who's paid his dues, and he knows he paid them. No one can deny it. He's not just going off of, you know, these memories of experiences he's had. He knows he has the facts and figures. He's sitting there like, yo, man, you know, this is all the shit that I did. You know, it's all laid on the table. You know what I mean? It's all right there for me to see, for me to understand. So it's like for you to understand that. That's why I'm so good, because I put in all this work. That's the reason why I'm so good. You know, and so to me, that's tight. That's a tight way to live. That's a tight way to live. And just keep up with yourself and keep your foundation. And you know, so for me, I think I'm the checkpoint for him. I'm the checkpoint for my father. You know, he's got one who's just gonna do all this. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I know what I want to do. You know, and I say I don't know what I'm gonna do because I don't know how it's gonna play out. Again, when you have an intention that you set, and you really want that intention to happen, everything you go through is leading you to that intention. Everything you go to. And a lot of things, and I heard something else too, last night on the song that stood out to me. It said, what is understood doesn't need to be said. When you understand something, you don't need to say it. There's nothing you need to say. You understand it. So that's it. You don't even need to talk about it. Because the discussion is like digging it up again. It's like when you plant something in the ground. When you understand something, it's planted. It's planted within you. You don't have to uproot it again until you're ready to plant something else in its place. Till you're ready to, you know, plant something more. So, and I'm just happy, man. I just thank the Lord that I'm here. I praise Him. I praise Him endlessly. And effortlessly. It's nothing to praise the Lord, and I'm very happy and I'm delighted. One of the things that I'm kind of tapped out. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm gonna go to Deanie's house, to Aunt Pat's house, and we'll go hang out over there. I'm gonna have fun and just enjoy my family, go see my granny, and it's going to be all to the good. I slept real late today, sleeping in, just comfortable, and, you know, learning stuff, learning more. And, professionalize, strengthen your foundation. It's going to strengthen your foundation. If you get more professional with your comedy, meaning that you have stuff that you wrote. See, this is what I think is the ideal way for you in terms of putting your comedy together. It's not having a notebook where you write all these different things. It's having a notebook with all these different concepts and then filming these concepts, putting these concepts on DVDs, recording them. See, when you record all this stuff, man, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a chance to perform as well as understand, as well as shape them up. You know, you write out the concept one day, you talk about it, and then you perform it. You can have this on your site, how you refine your comedy. You could just have a site up there that's just something for you. Just somewhere for you, anywhere you're in the world. You just go to your own website, you just check it out. You don't have to tell anybody about it, you just check it out. You know? And then when you're ready to release this stuff, you can release it. All you have to do is release the URL to the public. But no one else will know except for you. That'll be cool. And that'll give you a chance, no pressure, to work on developing websites. You want to make money, and you're good at doing the things you know how to do, but what I challenge you with now is taking it a step further all the time. Do as much as you can. You know, don't stop. Don't say, well, I'm settling. You haven't settled, dude. You haven't settled at all. You are set in your ways, but those ways are like offering you a chance to expand. You're not one of those people that say, this is how I am, this is how I'm going to be, and that's it. Because you're 25. You're 24, actually. But you're going to be 25 in like 10 minutes. So you're going to be 25. You're going to have all this potential, just like you did when you were 24. 3, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18, 17, 5, 2, 6 months. Just like you've always had. And now you're going to get a chance to lay foundation down and refine it, just like everybody's been asking you to. Now you've experienced travel, and nowadays travel. Just boom, just take the plane, get picked up, hang out. Your dad's taking a nap. You're out here recording something. You know, this is you're riffing just like you would in LA. The thing now is that you got a little more space to do it, and it's at your grandmother's house on Haven Road in Columbia, Missouri. So at some point it'll be in Detroit. At some point it'll be in New York. At some point it'll be in Florida. At some point it'll be in South Carolina. At some point it'll be in Louisiana. At some point it'll be in Amsterdam. At some point it'll be somewhere else in Europe. At some point it'll be in Ghana. At some point it'll be in Africa somewhere, Malawi. At some point it'll be somewhere else. But the fact is, remain consistent and do it all the time and learn something all the time. Do as much as you can. Do as much as you can and don't waste any time. Okay. I love you, and I will talk to you soon.